Hello and welcome to Boost Learning YouTube channel. Learn faster, remember longer and apply better. Presented by Kusal Rizal MST. Today, here we are going to discuss about strategic management, MBS 4th semester, Unit 2, Social Responsibility and Ethics in Strategic Management. कार्य हुई केवल फरक अनुभूति. Chapter Objectives 1. Elements of the socially responsible organization. 2. Social responsibility of strategic decision maker. 3. Ethical decision making. 4. Reason for unethical behavior. 5. Corporate governance. 6. Business ethics. Let's dive from the first topic, socially responsible organization, concept, elements and benefit. 1.1 Concept of socially responsible organization. A socially responsible organization is a business that integrates the ethical and the sustainable practices into its operations and decision-making processes, considering its impact on the society and the environment beyond just pursuing the profit. This concept is often referred to as the corporate social responsibility (CSR). 1.2 Elements of the socially responsible organization. Socially responsible organizations operate with an ethical framework that guides them to act with a consciousness and contribute to greater good. Key pillars of their strategy often includes: the first one is environmental responsibility, minimizing the organization's ecological footprint through sustainable practices such as reducing wastage, using the renewable resources, and implementing energy efficient operations. And the next one is ethical labor practices, treating employees fairly, ensuring safe and healthy working conditions, offering fair wages, and respecting human rights throughout the supply chain. And the next one is the philanthropic and the community engagement, actively supporting local and the global communities through charitable donations, employee volunteer programs, and partnership with the non-profit organizations to address the social issue. And the next one is the transparency and accountability, communicating openly with the stakeholders about their social and environmental performance and taking responsibility for their actions. 1.3 Benefits of social responsibility. Adopting socially responsible practices offers several benefits to an organization. The first one, enhanced brand reputations and public trust. Consumers and investors are more likely to support the brands that align with their values. And the next one is the increased customer loyalty. Over half of the consumers are willing to pay more for products from the companies with the robust CSR strategies. And the next one is the attracting and retaining top talent. A strong CSR program appeals to job candidates who prefer working for the socially conscious employers. And the next one is the improved financial performance. Studies show an correlations between the strong social responsibility initiatives and the higher market value and the revenue generation. The next one is the better risk management. Adhering to the ethical practices helps companies mitigate the legal and reputational risks associated with the irresponsible behavior. 2. Social responsibility of the strategic decision maker. Strategic decision makers have the social responsibility to consider their impact of their decisions on the society and stakeholders beyond just the profit. Key responsibilities include the balancing economic goals with the legal, ethical, and the discretionary obligations such as protecting the environment, ensuring fair labor practices, engaging in the philanthropic activities, and maintaining the transparent and ethical behaviors. These actions contribute to sustainable development and build trust with the customers, employees, and communities. The primary social responsibility includes economic and legal responsibility, ensuring profitability to provide the value to society, repay creditors, and compensate the shareholders, and financial stability is the foundation for all other responsibilities. 2. Operating within the law, which involves the complying with all the local, state and the federal regulations regarding the labor practices, environmental impact and the fair competitions. The next one is the ethical responsibility. 1. Acting fairly and ethically even when not legally obligated to do so by following the generally held societal norms and the moral principles. 2. Practicing the transparency and honesty in all the internal and the external communications to build trust with the stakeholders. 3. Treating all the customers and the employees fairly regardless of age, race, gender or the religions and ensuring favorable pay and benefits. 4. Cultivating and the ethical organizational culture that encourage employees to speak up about the potential wrongdoing and guards against the illegal behavior. And the next one is the discretionary or philanthropic responsibility. 1. Conducting to the community at large through the voluntary actions such as the philanthropic donations, programs supporting educations or the funding community projects. 2. Encouraging the employees' volunteerism and providing the time off for staff to support the social initiatives. And the next one is the stakeholders and sustainability responsibility. 1. Considering the impact of the decisions on all stakeholders, including employees, customers, suppliers, the local community, government, regulators, and the general public, not just the shareholders. 2. Prioritizing the sustainability by integrating the social and environmental concerns into the strategic objectives to ensure long-term viability. 3. Minimizing the organization's environmental impact by reducing the pollutions and emissions, managing wastage and using the resources responsibly. 4. Engaging in the stakeholder analysis to identify the concerns and potential effects of decisions on different groups and incorporating their input into the decision-making processes. 3. Ethical decision making. 3.1 Concept. Ethical decision making is the process of resolving issue by applying the core moral principles and the values to choose the best course of actions from the available alternatives. It involves evaluating the moral implications of choice, prioritizing the well-being of others and striving to do what is right, especially when facing the complex dilemmas where there is no clear right or wrong answer. 3.2 Core ethical principles. Decisions are often guided by the several key principles. The first one is the beneficence, the obligations to do well and prevent or remove harm to others. And next one is the no maleficence. This principle of do no harm, striving to cause as little damage as possible. The next one is the autonomy, respecting an individual's independence, self-determinations and the freedom of choice. And next one is the justice, ensuring fairness and treating all the people equitably or proportionately based on the defensible standard like merit or need. The next one is the fidelity, honoring commitments, maintaining trust and being faithful to those affected by decisions. 3.3 A general ethical decision making framework. It's also called the ethical decision making process too. While specific morals vary, most share common steps. The first one is the identifying the ethical issues, recognizing the problems or situations that requires an ethical analysis. This often involves identifying a sense of decision discomfort or the conflict between competing values. And the second step is the gather the facts, collect all the relevant unbiased information, identify the stakeholders involved, the patent laws and the professional courts and any assumptions being made. And then our next one is the evaluate the alternatives, brainstorm and consider all the possible course of actions, use ethical frameworks to evaluate the implications of each option. And the next process is the make a decision and test it. Choose the options that best align with the identified ethical principles. A good decision is consistent with the professional values, impartial and has a realistic chances of success. Test it by asking the questions like, would I feel proud if these decisions were made public? And then next stage is the implement the decision and reflect on the outcome. Put the chosen actions into practice with the care and the conscience for all the involved. Monitor the results, assess the consequence, and be willing to modify the approach if unforeseen problem arise. 4. Reason for unethical behavior. Unethical behavior stems from a combination of individual, organizational, and the situational factors. Key reasons include the pressures to meet the goals, a lack of the strong moral values, and the organizational culture that tolerates or encourages the misconduct. Individual factors. These causes are related to the individual's personal characteristics and the decision-making processes. The first one is the lack of moral values, personal ethics. Individuals without the strong internal ethical framework or the moral compass are more likely to engage in the unethical acts. And the second one is the greed and the self-interest. The pursuit of the personal gain, such as the money or the career advancements, often overrides ethical considerations. And the next one is the personality traits. Certain traits such as the narcissism or the psychopathy can correlate with a higher propensity for misconduct. The next reason under the individual factor is the moral disagreement, moral disengagement. This ability to rationalize unethical actions to oneself. For example, everyone does it or the nobody is getting hurt allows the individuals to maintain a self-image of honesty while being unethically. And the next one is the cognitive biasness. People may underestimate the risks or the consequence of their actions, believing the benefits outweighs or potential negative outcomes. And the next reasons is grouped under the organization and cultural factor. The environment in which a person operates plays a significant role in shaping their behavior. The first reasons under the organization and cultural factor is unethical leadership. When managers and leaders set bad examples or they engage in the misconduct themselves, employees are more likely to follow suit, leading to toxic culture. And the next one is the pursuit to achieve the goals. Unrealistic performance expectations and intense pressures to meet the targets can push the employee to cut corners or make unethical compromises. And the next reasons under the organization and cultural factor is the lack of the accountability. When there are no clear penalties for misconduct or if rules are laxly enforced, individuals feel they can get away with the unethical behavior without facing consequence. And the next one is the weak ethical culture or norms. A company culture that prioritizes the economic success above all the else, even if it involves bending the rules, foster an environment where unethical behavior becomes normalized. The next one is the lack of clear policies and training. Employees may not be aware that their actions are unethical if the organization has not provided the clear ethical guidelines or training on how to navigate the ethical dilemmas. The next one is a fear of retaliation. Employees may witness misconduct but be afraid to speak up or use the internal reporting mechanism for fear of losing their job or facing the backlash. And the next reasons are grouped under the situational and the external factor. Immediate circumstance and the broader environment can also influence ethical decision making. The first one is the confusion about the right and wrong. In the complex situations, especially across the different cultures in the international business, individuals may be genuinely uncertain about what constitutes ethical behavior. And the next one is the power dynamics. When individuals suddenly gain a more power, they may struggle to handle it and being making decisions they normally would not becoming controlled by their authority. And the next one is the environmental issues. Studies suggest that the external environmental factors such as the working in a physically polluted or the disorderly area can sharply lower an individual's inhibitions against the behaving unethically. The next one is the loyalty. In overzealous loyalty to the company or the superior can lead the employees to commit unethical acts to protect the organizations or please their boss. 5. Corporate governance. 5.1 Concept. Corporate governance is the system of rules, practices, and the processes by which a company is directed and controlled. It involves the balancing the interests of companies' shareholders, management, customers, suppliers, financiers, the government, and the company to ensure accountability, transparency, and fairness in operations. 5.2 Core Principle. Effective corporate governance is typically guided by the several core principles or the pillars. The first one is the fairness. Ensures all the stakeholders, including the minority shareholders, employees, and customers, are treated equitably and justly. Transparency requires the clear, timely, and accurate disclosures of companies' financial performance, operations, and governance practices to build trust with the investor and the public. The next one is the responsibility. Refers to the board's duty to act in the best interests of the company and its stakeholder, considering the long-term value creation and social and environmental impact. And the next one is the accountability. Holds the board and the management accountable for their actions and the performance to the company's stakeholders and shareholders. The next one is the risk management. Involves implementing framework to identify, assess, and mitigate the potential risks. It's like the strategic, financial, operational, and the reputational to safeguard the company's future. 5.3 Importance and benefit. Good corporate governance is the vital for the several reasons. The first one is attract investment. A strong governance framework builds in investor confidence and trust, making it the easier for companies to access the capital market for the growth. The next one is the enhanced reputations. Ethical conduct and the transparent practices improve a company's brand image and reputations among the customers, employees, and community. The next one is manage risks. Proactive risk management helps identify the potential issues early, minimizing the likelihood of the fraud, financial loss, or the legal penalties. The next one is the support sustainability. Integrating environmental, social, and the governance considerations into the governance helps companies manage the related risks and opportunity for the long-term value creation. The next one is ensure compliance. Else companies adhere to legal and the regulatory requirements in the jurisdictions where they operate. 6. Business ethics. 6.1 Concept. Business ethics are the moral principles and standards that guide the behavior of a company and its employees in the business world. These principles go beyond mere legal obligations, focusing on integrity, fairness, transparency, and social responsibility to build a trust with the stakeholders and ensure long-term success. 6.2 Key Principle of Business Ethics. While lists of ethical principles may vary, core concepts consistently emerge as a fundamental to responsible business conduct. The first one is integrity. Adhering to strong moral principles and values, consistently being honest and reliable in all the business dealing. Honesty, trustworthiness. Being faithful in all the matters, avoiding partial truths or omissions, and building trust with the customers, employee, and the partners. The next one is the fairness. Treating all the individuals impartially providing the equal opportunity and making decisions based on the objective criteria rather than the personal bias. Accountability, taking responsibility for decisions and actions and their impact on the stakeholders, including employees, customers, the community, and all the environment. Transparency, operating openly and communicating clearly about the business practices, financials, and the performance to all the relevant parties. Respect for others, valuing the dignity, rights, and the privacy of all the individuals and fostering an inclusive and diverse work environment. Respect for laws, complying with all local, state, and the federal laws and regulations is a fundamental baseline for the ethical practice. The next one is the social responsibility, considering the impact of the business activities on society and the environmental, often extending to voluntary contributions to the community's well-being beyond the legal requirements. 6.3 Importance of business ethics. Prioritizing the business ethics offer numerous advantages beyond the simply avoiding legal penalties. The first one is build trust and the reputation. A strong ethical reputation attracts loyal customers, talented employees, and confident investors. The next one is enhance employee morale and retention. Employees prefer to work for the organizations where they feel valued and respected, leading to higher job satisfaction, engagement, and the productivity. The next one is ensures legal compliance. Adhering to the ethical standards helps the business stay within the boundaries of the law, reducing the risks of costly lawsuit, fines, and scandal. Drives long-term success. While unethical shortcuts might yield short-term gains, a commitment to ethics provides a sustainable foundation for the long-term growth and the reliances. The next one is attract socially responsible investor. The growing area of the socially responsible investing means companies with a strong ethical track records are more likely to attract investment capital. 6.4 Implementing the business ethics. Fostering an ethical environment requires a conscious effort starting from the top management. The first one is the ethical leadership. Leaders must model ethical behavior and demonstrate the commitment to integrity in their actions and decisions. The next one is the code of ethics. Develop a clear and written code of conduct that outlines the company's value, principles, and expected behavior for all the employees. The next one is the ethics training. Provide ongoing training and the education programs to help employees understand the code and learn how to navigate ethical dilemmas in their daily work. The next one is a reporting mechanism. Establish confidential or the anonymous channel like and the ethics hotline for the employees to report concerns or the misconduct without a fear of retaliation. The next one is the accountability and the enforcement. Implement monitoring mechanisms and consistent fair disciplinary measures for the violence to ensure the code is taken seriously. Thank you and best wishes for your upcoming future.